Aloha! Welcome to Keys to Success, which is live on the Think Tech Live streaming network series weekly on Thursdays at 11 a.m. We are your hosts. My name is Danelia, D-A-N-E-L-I-A.
And I'm the other half of the duo, John Newman. Welcome to the show.
Mahalo for joining us today. You can catch us live on stream at livestream.com on the thinktechhawaii.com channel. We also encourage you to call our hotline at 415-871-2474 to join our conversation, or tweet us at ThinkTechHI if you have any questions or comments. The goal of our weekly show, Keys to Success, is to provide professional and personal development tools and profound insights on how to achieve success in life, career, and/or business. Senator Chun Oakland was our guest on last week's show, and her words of wisdom with regards to her keys to success can be found on Newman Consulting Services website landing page at danelia.org. Our theme for today is Achieving Your Dreams.
Joining us today in the studio is Tautaimatapalapala Barry Rose, builder and director of Coconut Beach Club and Resort in Western Samoa. Barry is a graduate of Purdue University and Loyola University Law School. He worked 10 years as an aerospace engineer, and afterward he spent 17 years working in his own private law practice in Beverly Hills, Los Angeles. After retiring in 1984 for 6 years, he and his lovely wife Jennifer, also an attorney, decided to purchase a 65-foot sailing yacht and take a high-adventure voyage around the world. In 1990, they fell hopelessly in love with Western Samoa, and the next adventure in their lives began, which was the epic task of creating Coconut Beach Club and Resort. It started out as a small 3-stool bar and morphed into a 4-star world-renowned resort. After being destroyed by a tsunami in 2009 and a cyclone in 2012, Barry and Jennifer didn't waver. They rebuilt their beloved coconuts again and again, making it more and more beautiful each time. Mahalo for joining us today,
Matapalapala.
That's
I
a
can't
mouthful.
tell you how many times we practiced that.
That's okay.
What should we call you?
Just call me Barry.
Okay, thank you so much, Barry. That's exactly what we'll do. You're just the best part of my day, okay? All right, I have a question for you, Barry. It's a two-part question. First, I'd like you to share with our viewers that aren't Samoan, what does Tautaimatapalapala mean?
Oh, well
and the
done.
second portion of it would be, what did you have to do to achieve that honor?
Wow. Okay. I'm sorry that I can't give you a specific answer because, as far as I know, the title, Tautaimatapalapala, is my Matai title. It's a chiefly title, an honorific, which is used in Samoa. But I think that the name Tautaimatapalapala has to do with somebody who is a fisherman, but it's not a great fisherman, but it's rooted in the myths of Samoa. You know, Samoa has many myths. They're legends, the stories that are handed down from generation to generation and have been for hundreds of years. And so Tautaimatapalapala is, I think, a mythical fisherman who was able to, you know, like accomplish unbelievable things with his rod and reel or his net or whatever it was.
And how was this title bestowed on you?
Well, in Samoa, when you get a chiefly title, there is a ceremony. And it's a very involved ceremony that lasts the better part of a day and features, among other things, drinking kava, which I didn't realize until very recently is also a tradition in Hawaii. It's part of the ceremony. But the ceremony is called the Saufai in Samoan, and it, as I say, it lasts a whole day, and a lot of eating and drinking.
So you're considered very special in the community because this title was bestowed upon you?
Well, every village has a group of matais who is the representative for their families, and the matais together in the village form a village government, if you will. And they have a fono, which is a meeting that determines village policy. And of course, Samoa has a dichotomy. It has, on the one hand, a Western-style constitution, which says that these are, the rights of everybody, and but then, in addition to that, they have the customary aspect of Samoa, which goes back, generations and generations, and so the rights and duties and obligations are spelled out, in the village, and oftentimes it's in conflict with the Constitution.
So that's a very different life to Beverly Hills.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit different.
So,
Yes.
And when I did my research on that Tautaimatapalapala, it also said that title says that you are a person that takes care. You are a person that helps the village or helps the people, helper of the people, or overseer to make sure that things are well taken care of for the people. Is
That's
that so?
true. That's true.
Okay.
But that's the role of the matai. That's
Okay.
the role that goes with being a matai.
Okay.
so how did you end up in Western Samoa?
Wow, it was a very long.
Well, before we get there,
journey,
before we
yes.
get there, why did you and Jennifer want to create coconuts, and what was the vision for coconuts?
Well, we have to back up because my life is a series of vignettes. It's a series of stories, and they're not always probable stories. In a lot of ways, they're improbable. But it's real. It's real, and the origin of coconuts really goes back to a time, I can't remember the date, but probably around 1980, 81, 82, when my wife and I were having dinner at our house. We had a beautiful home in Beverly Hills, and we had all of the accoutrements that went with it, and all of the responsibilities, and all of the stupidity, but at the time seemed to make sense, We lived in the fast lane, as it was described in articles and things. But we were, it was late, and we had finished a really tough day, and we're sitting on the floor and watching TV and having some takeout food, and it was just a particularly hard day, and I remember sitting there and saying to my wife, this is really a wonderful place that we have. It's really great, but we never have time to enjoy it, and and the responsibilities are huge, because we had the requisite, we had the pool service, to take care of the pool. We had the gardeners, we had the maid, the live-in housekeeper who took care of the dogs, and all of these were demands, and some of them were made sense, and some of them didn't, because it was Beverly Hills, and one of the ones that didn't make sense was the maid wanted a new Cadillac to use to go to the market, because she wanted to be able to hold her head up high, for having been, part of us.
Right.
And you tend to fall in line.
Yeah.
You just follow what's expected of you a lot. But anyway, I was sitting there and I said, it's a great place, and it's a great life, but we don't have time to enjoy it. And I said, but if we sold everything that we had, just everything, and retired, and put everything in cash, we would have enough money that we could live, maybe not the same way we're living now, but we could live, maybe the rest of our life if we were careful, and we wouldn't have to work anymore at all. And she said, well, what would we do? And I said, I don't really know. I said, but one of the things is we both loved the islands, tropical life. And I said, one of the things that we could do is we could find paradise. That would be a nice adventure.
Wow.
And so that was the beginning of it. And we laughed at the concept, but what happened over the next series of months was that we started to take it seriously.
Wow.
And so we put it into effect. So that's really the origin of how we came to be in Samoa.
That's just
Looking for
amazing.
paradise.
Looking for
Absolutely.
paradise.
That's
Okay.
amazing
Yes.
because how many people would really have the just the willpower to do something like that? Because you do get caught up in your life, and you guys just came to an understanding that we love this life, but we want another life.
That's true, but and what you say is right. How many people will do it? How many people will act upon it? And I don't know the answer to that. One of the things that got me just a little bit nervous as we started the show is I listened to you say that your viewers are looking for something profound, and I don't know that I can provide anything profound, but I can tell you, basically what we've done, and in making that decision and many more that took place afterwards, I did come to realize that together we acted on impulse.
Right.
We acted, like from the heart rather than from the brain, because if you really think about the things that we've done, they don't really make a lot of sense.
About how old were you at that point, may I ask?
At that time, I was about 45, 44.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me interrupt here. We're going to be taking a short break. This is Keys to Success on the Think Tech Live streaming network series. We're talking with Barry Rose, Director of Coconuts Beach and Club and Resort in Western Samoa, regarding our theme today, Achieving Your Dreams. I'm Danelia, Danelia.
And I'm the other half of the duo, John Newman. We'll be back in a minute, so please stay tuned.
Aloha, my name is John Waihe'e, and I used to be a part of all the things that you might be angry at. I served in government here and may have made decisions that affects you. So I want to invite you in. I want to invite you in to Talk Story with me and some very special guests every other Monday here at Talk Story with John Waihe'e. Come on in, join us, express your opinion, learn more about your state, and then do something about it. Aloha.
Aloha! I'm Chantal Seville, the host of The Savvy Chick Show, which you can watch every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on thinktechhawaii.com. On The Savvy Chick Show, we are all about inspiring and empowering women and girls to be the best they can be by having amazing guests from all around the world. So we hope you'll join us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Aloha!
Welcome back. This is Keys to Success on the Think Tech Live streaming network series. We encourage you to call our hotline at 415-872-2474 to join our conversation, or tweet us at ThinkTechHI if you have any questions or comments. We've been talking with Barry Rose, Director of Coconuts Beach Club and Resort in Western Samoa, about achieving your dreams. I'm Danelia, Danelia.
And I'm the other half of the duo, John Newman. Welcome back. And we're talking with Chief Tautaimatapalapala.
Oh, well done.
Well done.
All right.
Well done.
Barry, I have another two question for you.
Okay.
Okay. When we talked earlier, we shared with our viewers that a tsunami and a cyclone came through and just destroyed your dreams. How did you and Jennifer handle that? And how did you handle the aspect, the emotional aspect of having to rebuild not only once but twice?
Well, I'd like to say that we had long discussions and reasoned it all out and worked it out on paper. But the truth of the matter is that we just reacted instinctively without giving it a lot of thought, and said, well, okay, Samoa and coconuts had become our life. We were living there. We were, it was our home.
Right.
We had become Samoan citizens, and so it was more than just a business. And so I guess it's like when your home is destroyed, you say, oh, I'm going to rebuild, it's
Okay.
you just instinctively. And in retrospect, it may not have been the smartest decision that I ever made, but so be it.
But it was your dream.
Right, it was the dream. And it's interesting that the show today focuses on the dream.
Yes.
Because there's an aspect that in our history that goes to that subject, because when we were just starting coconuts, like we started it in 1990, so maybe in 1992, we had we didn't have very much there. It was just very crude, very primitive.
Right.
But we had a visitor who came by for drinks and food, and he was a writer for Condé Nast magazine, for Condé Nast Traveler, which is the Bible for people in my industry. His name was Simon Winchester. And he spent a couple of weeks in Samoa. He was there, I think, to do an article about the death or the life of somebody who had lived there, and Robert Louis Stevenson. And but he was just hanging out at Coconuts, and but he was a fun guy, and he, as he was leaving, he said, I'd like to do something nice for you, for the magazine. And he said, on the back of the page, there's a room with a view. He said, so maybe I can get a photographer to take a picture and we can feature you a room with a view. And I said, boy, that would be terrific. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, what happened was instead, he wrote an article, a story about our search for paradise, the whole thing, and he featured us on the cover of Condé Nast Traveler, which was a big boon to us. But the interesting thing was, he titled it "Living the Dream."
Oh, and here we are again, how many years later? Isn't that something?
Right, that was the title of it. But, but also, I have to tell you, in all honesty, when I found that out, I was a bit, surprised. I was a little disappointed because I was hoping if he was going to do an article, he would do an article about coconuts, about the hotel, the resort, rather than us.
Right.
But I was very pleased they put us on the cover, and it was wonderful. But in my conversation with him, when I knew they were going to do it before it came out, I said to him, Simon, thank you. I really appreciate this, and it's wonderful that you've done this. I said, but honestly, Simon, do you think anybody really cares about my story? He said, you're right. He said, but you have no idea, Barry. He said, what you have done, going out and finding paradise, giving it all up, that is a dream. It's most people's dream. And I wasn't really convinced.
Right.
All I knew was what I had done.
Right.
And so I said, hey, if you say so, Simon. But so we all quite a bit of this, our success to Simon, who, by the way, after that went on to do great things himself. He became a bestseller, New York Times
Wow.
bestseller.
That's great.
He has books, you know,
Right.
he wrote this one book called I don't know, The Professor and the Madman, about the founding of the Oxford Dictionary. But he started out with living the dream
Wow.
for us.
So what advice would you give our viewers about living their dream?
I think a couple of the takeaways from my life are one, all of us have a little voice inside of us that sometimes we pay attention to and sometimes we don't. Okay, and the voice warns us when we're doing something stupid or wrong, or something we shouldn't be doing. It's pretty much silent when you're doing the right thing.
Yes.
And so I would say pay attention to the voice.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the other thing is this, that you have to have a realization that life is an adventure. Okay, and they talk about it's take the time to smell the roses. It's a path. It's not a goal. It's and all of that is true, but equally true, I think, is the fact that life is a series of crossroads.
Right.
You have major crossroads, minor crossroads.
Right.
These are decision points in your life. You can go this way. You can go that way. I don't believe that there's a right and a wrong way to go. I believe personally that each way you go takes you on a different adventure. And it's up to you to pick up on the adventure and run with it and get the most out of it that you can. So that's my two takeaways.
So true.
Okay.
Knowing you, Barry and Jennifer, you always just really did what you wanted to do as far as what was right for you guys. I mean, you were always adventurous in our opinion. And the way you looked at life was, well, you just go with the flow, you just do it. But you also think about what you want in life. I mean, dreaming is a big part of life.
Yes, if you don't know what makes you happy, it's very difficult to find it.
That's exactly
Right.
right. Wow. Good. That's really good advice to our viewers.
And what I hear you saying is that what makes you happy might not make me happy, but there is something that I should look for that would make me happy and go after it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I have a lot of employees, and I enjoy mentoring them.
Yeah.
Early on, because I do give advice to my employees, they're part of the family. Early on, I had to make the decision that what was good for them was not necessarily good for me. You see, like if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, look, I've got this great job opportunity," okay, I had to be honest with them
Right.
and say, "Hey, from my standpoint, that's a terrific job offer, and you ought to seriously consider it, even though I don't want you to leave."
Yeah, right.
You can't. I don't know that you can have it both ways.
Yeah.
You have to either be honest with yourself
Yes.
and the people that you love and
Yes.
that surround you, and if you're going to do that, you have to be consistent about it.
Absolutely. Did anybody ever try to dissuade you guys from leaving Beverly Hills or building Coconuts, expanding it or rebuilding it? Did you have any people in your life that tried to dissuade you from doing that?
Everybody. Everybody. And I didn't understand it at first, but everybody was unhappy and said we were making a terrible mistake. We shouldn't. It was stupid. But somebody much later in life, said, those people were probably upset because you were upsetting their status quo. You were forcing them to think about their own lives and how they were leading it, and they didn't want that.
Yeah.
They wanted to continue doing what you had been doing,
Right.
what they had been doing.
We're getting close to the end of the show, so I just have one question that I'd like you to answer.
Sure.
What would you say to our viewers to inspire them to reach for their goal, reach for their dreams?
I think that I think that it's important to be able to step back, okay, and think outside the box. And when you're evaluating where you are in life, okay, figure out what it is you want to do. Because I used to have this 10-year theory that if you're working at a job and it's 10 years, then within that period of time, you should have gotten really good at it.
Right.
Okay. If you weren't really good at it, maybe you ought to think about getting a different job. And if you were really good at it, isn't it a little boring by now? Are you just doing it for the money?
Right.
If that's okay, if that's what you want to do, but maybe it's time to move on to something different and get a new challenge.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Barry.
I tell you, most of us say we can't because, but actually you can, you just have to find a way. So we're out of time, unfortunately, because this is such great conversation. Thank you so much. We'll have to wrap it up. Now, I'm going to do my best. Oh no, actually I'm going to ask John to say,
Tautaimatapalapala.
thank you. He's been practicing more than me. Barry Rose's words of wisdom with regards to his keys to success, and they can be found on Newman Consulting
Excuse
Services
me.
landing page, Danelia.org. So we have resources and tips on there, and plus Barry's keys to success. Thanks to you, our viewers, our listeners, for tuning in. Thanks to our broadcast engineer, Zuri Bender, our floor manager, Nick Sexton, and to Jay Fidel, our executive producer, who puts it all together. And again, thank you so much, Barry, for joining us and sharing your insights to success. They were really, really powerful.
Think Tech Keys to Success will be back in 2 weeks on Thursday, June 23rd at 11 a.m. So please tune in again and ask your friends and family to tune in as well. Thank you very much.
Aloha.
Aloha.